We're back with the author of The Gluten Lie, Professor Dr. Alan Leninovitz and Dr. Tom O'Brien. Let me actually back up here, and this is where I get passionate on this topic, because both of you make really valid points. And I have some friends who they fully believe they're gluten sensitive. Number one, the reason why a lot of people who cut back on gluten feel better is because in our country we eat primarily refined wheat products, and that is a big no-no. And so my first argument was, don't eat refined wheat products because they're not good for you, period. So a lot of times people feel better because they cut back on those. And there are people out there where you're spot on, Tom. I mean, there are people obviously with celiac disease with a known allergy to gluten. And there are people who are gluten sensitive and they do benefit. My issue, and Tom, it's you as well, I go to your website and you're selling so many supplements, Glutenza, gluten pulverizer formula. You're making tons of money on this, and the more that you scare people out there, there's one hammer out there for you, and it's gluten. Gluten, gluten, gluten. So you make my job harder as a doctor, because when the nail's always gluten, the problem is a lot of people can't get past that. And then when it's like, well, take this supplement, all of a sudden, gluten becomes the only thing that people want to talk about. And that's my problem. It's not that you're not right in a lot of the stuff you say, and it's not that there aren't people out there who should try to maybe go gluten-free in some circumstances, but this has become a billion-dollar business. Honestly, these books out there, the Wheat Belly, the Grain Brain, they're all capitalizing on people's fears, and it bothers me.
You're absolutely right. In fact, I'd like to follow up on what you said a little bit. You know, we just saw a segment about a young woman with an eating disorder. And when I was writing my book, I spoke to a lot of eating disorder specialists. And this isn't something you hear about, but stress about food, fear about food. Oh, this is toxic. Gluten's toxic to all humans. You know, fat is something that you shouldn't eat. These specialists told me, look, there are side effects to just going on a restrictive diet. You end up thinking, well, maybe if this food isn't clean, if that's affecting my health, well, that didn't work. Maybe I'll cut out this other food. And maybe I'll cut out this other food. And before you know it, there's no foods left that feel safe for you. I say, eat foods that you've cooked for yourself, fresh from nature. Don't stress about food. Get exercise. And for the majority of us, we'll feel better.
And then to close this out, you know, to Tom, back up some of the stuff that you said, for people out there who make all these healthy changes and you're still struggling, and there are people out there who can benefit. And that's the one thing we want to make very clear. We're not sitting here saying that there aren't people out there who don't have celiac disease, who aren't sensitive to gluten. But believe me when I tell you that not everything is caused by gluten. And at the end of the day, you've got to...
I will fully agree with you that most people do not have a gluten sensitivity today. Most people don't. I fully agree.
And I appreciate you acknowledging that.
If you have a gluten sensitivity and you don't know, you know, they published a paper that showed 132 kids with attention deficit. Every child improved in all 12 DSM-4 markers, fails to pay attention, interrupts frequently, blurts out answers. Every child improved within 6 months on all 12 markers on a gluten-free diet.
Unfortunately, though, you never know whether it's because their parents were paying more attention to them, whether that gluten-free diet involved just eating healthier.
Yeah.
We need science to tell us the truth.
And I think that hopefully the most important takeaway here is that the more that we can eat natural foods from the earth in their original condition, the better off we're all going to be.
Yes.
And certainly if you have a known allergy to gluten, avoid it at all costs. Alan and Tom, thank you both for being with us.